So fuck the streets and the system guarding elites with military police. Got people scared to speak. Tell your story, tell your story, tell your story. Can't nobody tell a better paint the glory. So tell your story, tell your story, tell your story. Better you the people finding out more. So tell your story, tell your story, tell your story. Can't nobody tell a better paint the glory. So tell your story, tell your story, tell your story. Better you the people finding out more. Tell your story, man.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of our virtual artist storytelling. I don't know why I'm all right. Yes, welcome to another virtual artist storytelling where we have a special guest and Coach I. I know him just from being around the neighborhood and playing sports and all that. So I'm already locked in. But yes, as always, we have a great story. Please remember our rules. If you have any questions or just any comments at all, feel free to use the hand emoji. But other than that, we're going to let Coach I rock with his story. And we'll have questions at the end, if anything. But with that, Coach I, the floor is yours.
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank you for y'all having me out. as a guest on this forum that you guys have put together. I really want to take this time to express my appreciation. Can you hear me?
I'm just looking forward to having at least some board meetings where we're able to have
Yes, sir, we can.
dedicated conversations about where we are with that.
I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah. So I just want to say a big shout out to y'all for running this and doing something positive for our youth. Big shout out to King Field over there doing his thing with Make a Chess Move, and I'm so glad to see you guys being a part of this. But I'll start off by saying, first of all, I go by Coach I, but my government name is Joel Hodge. I'm from the south side of Chicago, where I was born and raised in the Wabash Projects on the 17th floor. During that time, you know, I kind of going up and down 17 flights of stairs with the elevator not walking through pissy hallways and gang infested and drug infested territories. I kind of fell into the wrong path of leadership. You know, I was kind of a poor young man. I kind of went to school with holes in the bottom of my shoes. We used to put newspaper and cardboard on the bottom of them from the snow and the sleet that we used to have to walk through to get to school or to the bus or whatever the case may be. But so in other words, I kind of took you know, when drugs came into our communities and kind of affected our communities as far as family structure, as far as the man in our home not being present, as far as leadership, positive leadership not being present, and starving being another one of the issues. You know, I chose a path of destruction, as I say. During those years, I was blessed into a certain organization out there in the city. During that time, from 15 to 17, I did 2 years in juvenile correctional facilities. After I got out, I was probably out maybe 3 to 6 months when I caught my first cross with death. As I'll go back a little bit further. You know, I kind of went through a lot of the worst part of my life was from 8 to 10 years old when I was abused at home by a man in certain different ways. This pimp that used to date my mom and stuff like that. But during that time, I got you know, kind of ran with some gang members and took a liking to some gangs, you know, just for love. You know, when you don't have love, you search for love in all kind of weird places, and so that's where I found love at. Is in these certain older gentlemen that were running the city at the time.
Sir,
that
I'm
being
sorry.
Coach.
Yeah, my bad. I don't mean to interrupt you. We do have a question from Miss Tabitha.
Go ahead.
Hello, sir. I hope you're doing well this evening. I just kind of had a question about the type of abuse that you experienced from the ages of 8 to 10. And I was wondering if you could kind of touch on that and how that affected you, you know, in your adolescence and growing up and stuff.
Well, I was unfortunately it goes on in our community far too often and not talked about. But I was sexually abused as a young man by a man for the ages 8 to 10. So those kind of things gave me anxiety, gave me kind of a hatred towards myself and a kind of a trauma that you kind of will never be able to get over, you know, but you just find the tools that get you to go through day by day through these situations. So those are that was what I went through those ages. So I kind of rebelled I broke windows, broke glasses, just fought, kicked holes in walls and all kind of stuff like that, crying out to get out of this situation. But so that was what transpired in my life during that time. So that kind of led me down the path to self-destruction, kind of, not having love for myself, not believing I was worthy enough, or believing everything was my fault, or stuff like that. So during that time, I rebelled and got put into a little juvenile facility for a while. After that, I got out. 3 months of being out, I was addicted to Sherms, which is PCP. I got a heart infection from that. After I almost died dead. After getting out for about 3 months of my life, about a month before my 18th birthday, I was shot 3 times and hit with a baseball bat at the same time, and lost my eye. That's how I did lose my eye. I was in the drug game. Me and a friend of mine that I grew up with since kindergarten. His name is Reggie McCombs. He's doing life in prison right now, but we were 17 years old and drinking and driving and selling drugs, and stopped in the wrong neighborhood, and I ended up getting shot 3 times and losing my eye in the process. But so during that time, I still, even in and out, getting out the hospital, losing a year of my life in and out the hospital during that time. And I still got back out the hospital, still doing the same old thing, still saying the same old dream, right? And unfortunately, the dream for us we wanted to make enough money to start businesses and own property. But unfortunately, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, all the way up to the present day, the feds came in and, and they took a lot of our men off the street, took a lot of our family structures, and destroyed us, in that nature. So the plan worked. I fell for it, and I'm ashamed of it to this very day. So with that being said, my last 2 years of being in and out of incarceration, I find myself getting out of jail out here in Colorado. And during my time of being out of jail is when I met my wife, right? This is kind of the changing of my life for me. I met my wife. She was kind of she's a strong woman. She's kind of a woman that said either, I gave me some kind of ultimatums because I was still out here playing around at the age of 26, 27, 28 years old, still in and out the penitentiary, still risking my freedom, still killing my community, right? So my wife gave me an ultimatum, we were dating at the time, and said, I like you and I want to be with you, but I don't need you, and I don't want a man that's going to be in and out of jail. So by the graces of God, God gave me another chance to try to change my ways and try to find a purpose in life, right? So during that time, my wife and I, we discovered, my wife was homeless at one time with my youngest son, Dee Dee. They stayed in an abuse shelter because she was abused by her previous boyfriend, right? Growing up in the same kind of situation we all grow up in. She grew up in the hotels on Colfax and being homeless. And so God kind of put us together, I believe, really, truly in my heart, and crossed our paths to save one another's life and future, and for our children and for our community. So during that time, we wanted to give back. We was thinking of ways to give back, and we came up with the Struggle Love Foundation. And we started, my wife got the 501c3 in 2007, 2008. We started doing our first kind of outreach events in 2006. And it's just been a blessing ever since, ever since I turned my life to do things the right way, things may not happen right when we want it to, but it's always right on time, if that makes any sense. So with patience and the blessings of God and love, finding love, the way to love myself, and understand only one that really matters or what is thought of is what I think. As long as I feel like in deep in my heart I'm doing the right thing, then I've been blessed ever since. So that's just a little story tale of what the process was for me to be a true king. Um, and I'm still working on it every day. So I learned from you guys. You guys teach me how to be a better man and demand a better man of me. So if that's about wraps it up for me, and the journey it took to get here. So.
Okay, so I got a question, got a couple questions. But my first question, is so how old were you when you had like your first encounter with the police?
I was 12.
What was that like?
12 was dope charges. I was selling crack cocaine. So, I was on the street, working for an older gentleman, you know what I'm saying? So that was my first charges that I had, But in Chicago, it's kind of a segregated kind of city, so you kind of integrated with the police at all times, right? It could be, most of my I have to be a man, and most of my actions from the police was my own doing, because we all have choices, right? And unfortunately, I made a lot of wrong choices, and that's the reason why I'm so hard on trying to work to give young youth a different choice. Right. So when I was young, you had to do things a certain way. You had to be in a certain box, right, to fit in. Nowadays, we don't have to be in that box. We can be ourselves, right? We can have our swag. We can wear our jewelry. We could be who we are, the kings and queens who we are, just the way we lay. And that's the thing that's going to help change the world, is because now you have to accept us the way we are. Before before hip hop, before all of this stuff, you had to be a certain way. You couldn't come in with braids and your pants, your clothes looking swagged out and stuff like that, or you was considered, a pimp or a drug dealer. Now you considered a community organization leader. You know what I'm saying? And you still can look the way you want to look. You can still teach the way you want to teach. And you can still love the way you ought to be loved, right? Because nobody knows how we want to be loved but ourselves.
Thank you for that answer. That was dope. Tab, you got a question?
Yes, I do. I have a couple of questions. So my first question is, you mentioned, your stepfather being in the picture and, the abuse that he inflicted you with. And I do want to just say that I'm sorry that you went through that. But we all go, we go through things for a reason. And I definitely think that it shaped you into the man that you are today. And I definitely appreciate you for that. But where was your own father in your story? Because I noticed your stepfather, or the man that was in your mom's life, was in the picture, but you never mentioned your own father.
Well, so because I didn't just want to go down, so I'll tell you how this works, right? So my mom is with this pimp. He's not a stepfather. He's not nothing, right? He's a piece of shit. So excuse my language, just real talk. But anyway. So I was acting a fool so much, and once I got out of custody, at my first custody from 12 to 13, my mom put me out on my porch. I put me out on the porch, right, and called my dad to come pick me up. So I didn't think he was going to show up, but he did show up. So from that time, I moved with my dad, right? But I'm already corrupted as a kid. You feel me? So I'm already corrupted. My mind's already made up. I'm already on the road that I think I want to go down. So my dad has so kind of man my dad is, right? He's a good man and I love him to death. But I didn't know I had brothers and sisters the same age as me until he passed 5 years ago, right? So I didn't meet him until the funeral. So this the kind of this, you know what I'm saying? He has multiple families around the neighborhood, right? Like right up the street, I have brothers and sisters that I never even met until he passed away, right? So this is the family structure that we are living in and developing in our community, right? That this is okay, right? This is okay to have multiple families. You know, how can you be a good dad in multiple homes, right? That's impossible, right? I mean, so that's the kind of man he was. And I'm not going to step on his toes and knock him down or anything. That's the choices he made. He still was good to me, you know, and still tried, you know, but that's where that lays, you know. So, yeah, I have 3 brothers and sisters that I met at his funeral and don't even talk to after the funeral, right? So it's just, you know, and that's what we're trying to do is spread the word about your family structure, how important it is for a correct family structure. And whatever that looks like. I mean, if you could be with 2 men and they both happy and you can take care of them homes and you there 100% of the time, then fine. I mean, that works for you. But for me, I think that it should be, you know, when you guys decide to have a child, try to make sure you're going to be able to tolerate that man, right? Or that woman, right? For the rest of your life. So that baby doesn't be affected by the trauma and neglect of parents being missing. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jason.
I don't think he had any questions. I think that his mic was just unmuted.
Oh, okay.
But I guess I do have a my second part to that question. The first part was, you know, about your dad, and you answered that. And I apologize for calling that. I guess I could just call him a nigga because that's the mentality that he had. Your stepdad, because I agree he was not ish. But my second part of the question is, so you mentioned a lot about family structure and stuff like that, and that was a good segue into my question. What, as far as like being that father figure in your own children's lives, you know, can you talk a little bit about the role you're playing in their lives and how you see the difference that you see in between from when you were young and the way you grew up to like how your kids are growing up now? And if you could also tie how y'all came about, how you got your wife out of that situation of being homeless into like more stability, that would be cool too.
Okay, so first I'll touch on the family structure side and what we're doing to do it, you know, make it better for each generation, right? So for me, I don't know anything about being a man, right? Because I ain't been raised by the right, correct man. So I'm learning on the job, right? So the first thing that I said was when I have children, I make sure they don't get abused, right? Because that's what happened to me. That's what I thought was the biggest thing that I wish somebody would have covered me from. So that's what I said. I said, I'm gonna make sure that they don't need no shoes. They won't have holes in their shoes. They won't need cars to go out there and sell drugs to have to go get. They won't need clothes that, you know, for them to be cold. So I did all of that, but I didn't cover the emotion part because I didn't know nothing about that, right? So what I try to teach my kids is what I'm lacking. So I covered y'all on that area, right? So now the things that you don't like and you see that I could have did better. Now you implement those things that I've taught you, plus the things that you can teach and wish somebody would have taught you to your next generation. Does that make sense? So we're covering each layer, right? Every generation is getting better and better and better in each layer, right? So then I'll go with my Lakeisha situation. So Lakeisha, I didn't help her get out of her situation. She helped me get out of my situation, right? So she's, you know, this young lady, my wife, you know, has been a great young lady since I met her. She's been a go-getter since I met her, right? Working, getting educated, going to school, working, taking trainings, working, doing this and that. So she made me better, right? So that's how that worked out. We kind of leaned on each other and helped each other get out of our situation. So where she's lacking, I pick up the place, right? Where I'm lacking, she picks up the other 50 or 75% I'm lacking, right? So we put it together as a team and we just work like that, right? So we don't have no big eyes and little U's in our relationship. Like a lot of people laugh at us, but we have one bank account, right? Is because why would I have, if I'm asleep next to you, and I trust you with my life, what is money, right? Money means nothing. So we should be able to, that right there is a deal breaker for a lot of relationships. But for us, it works for us. And some people it works for having separate, right? But for me, I couldn't work like that because I always be wondering, well, why we gotta be separate? What you hiding? What you hiding over there? You know, you plotting to leave or what's going on? So, you know, those kind of things, you got to find your right match for. But for me, yes, Lakeisha's the one that spearheaded us of coming up out of poverty, right? And coming out of a poverty mentality, right? Because you can still not have it all, right? But still be happy, if that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much. I think Mark had a question.
Well, you already asked one of my questions. I got two more though. So, where how many times did you end up being incarcerated, and was it for generally like the same stuff or?
Well, if you add up the incarcerations, I lost 10 years of my freedom, right? 10 years of my life, 2 years here, 2 years there, year and a half here, 45 days here, 90 days here. I haven't did like a 10-year stretch. No, I didn't. But when you add up all of the years, I've lost 10 years of my life, right? Then you look at the damage I've done to my body, right? From drugs, alcohol, abuse, I probably knocked off another 10, 15 years there, right? So those are the things that when you don't love yourself, take a toll on you, right? So yeah, that's that. Yeah, in and out, it's about 10 years stints here. The most I've done is 2 years straight though, and that's too much for me.
Okay, appreciate you. And my last question would be, did you end up finishing high school or at least get your GED?
So that's another good question, right? I drop out of school, uh, ninth grade, right? I drop out of school ninth grade, and through uh, this nonprofit, my wife and my kids, I went back and got my GED though. But do you know how old I was? I was in my 30s, right? How old was Deanie? Yeah, when I went and got it. And Deanie's 22, so I think he was like 10, maybe 10. Yeah, he was about 10 when I went back. I went back and got it, right? Because I had to go back and start all over to do all these trainings, you know, to get my certificates, to get my, you know, I had to go back and start all the way over to get even educated to further this nonprofit organization, right? Or further my wife's business that's on Colfax, right? So, you know, from all I can say is y'all got us or myself and people like myself beat by a mile, right? Because you can see the effects right in front of your face of just not just going to do the shit the right way in the first motherfucking place. I mean, excuse my language. But just doing the shit the right way, you know, treating everybody with love, even the ones that don't love you, G. Even the ones that hate on you, still love on them. Still love on them. It's a hard thing to do, but it's easier on your soul.
Awesome. And I just got one more. How did you say you ended up in Colorado?
Ah, man. So when the feds came in Chicago, right? I ran in California, right? So I was out there in California still doing the same thing till I got locked up out there, right? Got out there. I had a friend of mine that used to play on the Antelope Valley football college team out in Boulder, out there in Niwot, right? So he said he gave me an opportunity, a business deal. This was 98, 97, 96, of bringing some stuff out here, right? Some meth. Let's just call it what it is. So that's how I got locked up out there. Once I was locked up out there, I was on weekenders or whatever they call me, and that's how I met my wife. And then that's just been history ever since.
Appreciate you. Go ahead, G.
Okay. So my question is like, what advice could you give to youth who are, who are searching for love, who don't have their mothers or their fathers, or are in bad situations and are, out there looking for love, either however they're looking for it, the gang life, drugs, alcohol, what advice can you give to the youth who are in that search and that need of love?
So the first step I would say is affirmation, right? It's affirming your goodness, because ultimately that's what you need to find out is how to love yourself, and then everybody else's love will be non and void. So affirming your positivity every minute of the day, even when you're in these miserable situations, even when you hear nothing but screaming and hollering in your home, something's got to be positive in your life, right? And then surround yourself with positivity, right? Find a positive community, find a positive mentor, mentee, find a positive outlet in your life. Find the beauty that's within you, and then you everything else will be at ease. You wouldn't care what nobody else says. You won't dwell on the Facebook messages and the Facebook posts so much, because when you find out how to love yourself, and that's starting with affirmation, you have to affirm the beauty in yourself in all of these shitty situations every day. Because every day you're going to wake up to some negativity. I don't care whose life it is. I don't care if it's Donald Trump's life or Michael Jordan's life, whoever. It's some negative shit going on all the time. So you have to affirm something positive about you and what you're doing to make the situation better, right? So some of you are beautiful. Some of you can sing. Some of you can write. Some of you can draw. Some of you can just walk. Some of you got two eyes, can see. Some people have a refrigerator full of food. Some people might have their last bit of food to eat tonight, but at least you got something to eat, right? So we next this community, right? So first, knowing what a positive community is, knowing what a community even is. Why is it so important to have a positive community in your life? Because you need those positive out people to be able to vent to, right? If you go and vent to a person that's got worse problems, you thinking down just like you, all y'all gonna do is end up drinking and getting high together and end up fighting at the end of the night. But if you go out and reach out to somebody that says, well, I might not want to hear what they got to say, but at least they positive. At least they positive. Then that's surrounding yourself with a positive community, right? Then communication, learning how to communicate. What does that even look like for us? When most of our community is shut up, get out of here. I don't want to hear. I ain't got time to talk right now. So how do you learn how to communicate, right? Expressing I messages, telling people how you feel, by using I messages and stuff like that. Reaching out for mental health services, reaching out for trauma services when you've been affected, and not being afraid to look different than the average. So it takes a gang of tools. It takes a gang of community. It takes a gang of positive structure to survive in this world that we're in. And the beautiful thing of what's laid out there now is that there's a lot of organizations that offer those things, such as MACA, such as Struggle Love Foundation, such as my wife's DIY beauty mat, right? Such as Jason McBride, such as, it's so much help out here that if you're in a situation, if you want some love, if you want to learn how to love, even know what the meaning of the word love is, some of us think love is getting popped upside the head. Like if they don't pop me upside the head, they ain't caring about me today. So until we're taught those things again, we have a long road ahead of us. But we have to start back from affirming your beauty, affirming your positivity, affirming the love inside of you. And then, because when you love yourself, as I ask anybody, like if you love yourself, do you want to see yourself get hurt? You don't even want to scrape on your knee because it hurt. Because you like yourself. You like, I don't want nothing to flaw my beauty skin. I don't want, So those are the things when you don't love yourself, you can care less. You can care less what happened to you. You can care less what happened to the next person. So, but how long we got on here?
We got about 25 more minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir. Mark, you got a question?
I did. I'm gonna think about it.
Okay. Well, real quick, if you can you explain to us a little bit, about what, the Struggle Love Foundation is, what it is you guys do, your target audience, all of that. We love to, put support and promote our other Black nonprofits out there, and a little bit about your wife's business as well. We support Black businesses around here, so we love to hear about that.
So Struggle Love Foundation, we established this about 15 years ago. We started off with some outreach programs because it was none being done around the community, right? So we started off with it was a Reach for Peace picnic. So that's how long the violence has been going on. We've been doing Reach for Peace for 15 years going on now, right? Picnics, right? So this was way back when Interstate Ike got shot, right? All of that when my wife's cousin Katis got killed. So we started off doing those, just the free barbecue, free stuff for the community. We offer Father of the Year awards through that program. Then we kind of migrated into back to school programs and hot Thanksgiving dinners for the homeless children of DPS schools. We did toy drives for the what they call the red schools, all from Cole all the way from the east side to Montbello, to MLK. We've done them in every school from Park Hill all the way from the east side, as I said, to MLK. So during that time, we kind of started our after school program, which was started off as a sports and mentoring program. So I was doing kind of little coaching, volunteer coaching at the rec centers, and had a bunch of kids that couldn't afford to play that wanted to start a competitive team. So we did that. That was over 12 years ago now, which we are the Rocky Mountain Soldiers. We're kind of based out of the Montbello area. I have girls, have teams from 3rd grade to high school. So then within that, we got back with the city to do violence interruption, because we were always the ones responding to the shootings in our neighborhood, trying to do the marches, trying to do whatever we can to stop the violence. So we do violence interruption, secondary prevention. We also, before COVID hit, we're in like 7 of the far northeast schools with our in our Love Mentor and Leadership program. We also do our food pantry that we've been doing for 2 years now. Now it's a drive-through. What we were doing it is at the facility. Before COVID hit, we were doing about 100, 150, maybe 200 people a week. Now it's up to about 3,000 people a week that we feed food every day. We do that Monday through Friday at 12 to 2. So if you guys know anybody needs some food, send them over there to 12,000 East 47th Avenue. It's Denver, Colorado, 80239. Also, we're in the midst of building what we're the beginning of our Love Center. We had a vision of a Love Center way back 15 years ago, of a unique kind of center to kind of direct towards kids of our nature. So with that being said, we got 3,500 square feet, which we're putting a studio, a free studio for youth, podcast, t-shirt making machines, learning labs, and that kind of stuff. That should be opening here February 1st. And my wife and I have a what we call a do-it-yourself beauty salon, and that's at 7530 East Colfax. And what the purpose of that is we have all the equipment and everything that that you need to do your hair, plus the tablets for you to look up stuff, for you to come out and do it yourself. It's supposed to be a do-it-yourself, but they do have stylists that work here as well if you want to get your hair done as well. So they do braids, the locks, and kind of just regular hairstyles, right? Yeah, natural hairstyle. I'm sorry. So, but we're looking to join forces with anybody that wants to use this space, the space at both spaces. As a matter of fact, hopefully we'll be able to have Malcolm over there, doing some of you guys' stuff over there at the Love Center. And hopefully we can do some stuff over here as well at the Beauty Mat as well, with some of you young ladies and young men. I think me and Malcolm have a meeting, me and Phil have a meeting in the morning about doing another Father-Daughter Day event that we held here last year. So we have a mini master here, mini Manny master. I'm sorry, my 10-year-old daughter, she's a mini Manny master. So she does nails for 12 and under. They just paint. That's it. But she started her own little business and stuff like that. So it's just been it's been a hard dream, but it's been a good dream, you know. So I don't wish to struggle on anyone, you know. I really don't. I don't think that's the way you need to be able to teach people, is you have to go through a struggle, you know what I mean? That we should be able to get past the struggle now and just teach people how to uplift and be entrepreneurs and start from a even playing field as the others do, right? They don't have all these stories and they still be rich and, you know, still live good. So I don't want to have a story like this in order to live good, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How many children do you and your wife have?
We got 5.
Oh, okay. So how old are they? What's the age range?
25, 22, 21, 19, and 10.
Okay, so your 10-year-old, the baby, she that gap, the last one, maybe you might have more, maybe you never know.
No, that's a wrap. No, that's a wrap.
Oh, that's a wrap. Understood. Like my mom had one 10 years after me, and then another one 10 years after him. So, but so what, what's your relationship like with your children?
Oh, I'm lucky. I have a good relationship with all my kids. I've been, like I said, if it wasn't for my wife, and straightening me up and make me realize that I needed to be a better man than I was trying to be. No, I have an ex relationship, so I don't know. I can't complain. I've been blessed, I've been cursed and blessed at the same time. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yes, it does. Absolutely. And then do you have any grandchildren yet?
Yep, I got 2. My oldest son had 2 little boys a year apart, 8 months apart or something. Huh?
That's a blessing. Congratulations. So
Well, a year apart.
What's grandparenthood like?
Oh, it's just spending more money. That's it. What I mean, it's the same old thing. It ain't not different for me. It's easier for me because I get to leave.
Yeah.
I get to leave. I get to leave, and here you go. It was good seeing you, but I gotta go. No, it's been good though. They just babies, so they only like 1 and I think 1 and 4 months or something like that.
Okay.
One was just born in October. He just had him in October.
Yeah. Okay. So. That's a blessing. Congratulations. Okay.
Yeah,
so with your children, at what age for them did you and your wife, have that the talk with them, the talk that the Black families have with their children, the police, how you conduct yourself if ever approached or in a situation with the police?
Well, I think we've been kind of open all our lives with it, because they kind of grew with us, right? We were going through a transition, and all of this time they kind of suffered because they had to grow with us and work with us and be on the run with us and on the go with us and on this and that. So they kind of see it firsthand, right? They're in the police meetings with us, right? They're right there. So like, unfortunately, my 10-year-old, she goes on shootings with me, right? So I don't hide it. I need them to know what you need to do in order to change our future. So I got them in the front row, right? My youngest son runs the food pantry, right? He does that every day. So he gives out food with the police, right? He was on the other side of the law at one point in his life, right? He kind of made some wrong choices as well. But to watch him do a turnaround, and that's one thing that I would like to see Black parents do more of is kind of what do I want to say? Be consistent, and give us as children time to grow, right? In other communities and other races, they give their children time to grow, right? If you notice, some of them, like if you notice, some of them stay at their houses till 24, 25, 26 years old, getting time to grow, to find themselves is what they call it. We're gonna let you find yourself, right? Because we all know a man's, what they call this thing in the front, this tube, fallopian front or whatever they call it, doesn't develop till 25. A young lady's develops much faster, right? But if we're sending our young men out here with no training, no parents, no structure, and the first thing we do is, as soon as they turn to 18, is you got to get up out of here, get a job. You can't be staying here. We got to do something. Whoop de whoop de whoop. You know, a lot of us can't handle it, right? So we end up running off doing something stupid. So we need to give our children, and that's one of the things about economic justice, is our problem is we can't afford to give our children time to grow because we need y'all's help with the bills, right? So once we can meet that economic justice, right, and then we can provide those things for our children like they provide those things for their children, right? Their children drive Range Rovers, BMWs, and those are their normal cars, right? Just for their kids. We think it's a status quo when we get something nice, right? We can't believe it. Oh, he got a Benz. Whoa, whoop-de-whoop. But these are normal cars for them. You know, $50,000 cars that they buy their kids for graduation and stuff like that. So that's why they don't have that worry or burden. They can find themselves. They have the financial structure to be able to say, hey, don't worry about it. Find yourself. You know, go to school, drop out of school, go back to school, drop out. You know, we can't do that. You know, so that's another whole nother subject.
Thank you for that last part was dope and it needed to be said. And y'all, I hope co-facilitators team, I hope y'all caught that because that's a podcast. But Tab, I think you had a question, and then Mark.
So yes, my question. So my question is, you know, you mentioned a lot about you've touched on a little bit about your successes and failures as a parent, you know, with the whole emotional aspect of, like, you know, raising your kids up and not fully understanding that, but like providing the other things like shoes and things like that you didn't have. So if you could just give us like an overview and like kind of briefly touch on, you know, what you think that your successes as a parent are and what your failures are, and how you're trying to turn those around with your daughter who's 10.
So my successes is, as we say, is material things, right? House, stabilization, cars, you know, clothes. But where I lack at is attention, right? Because I was never given that attention, and my wife neither, right? And if we did get attention, it was negative attention, right? So that's what we're trying to learn, and we're still learning that with all our children, is how to be more attentive, right? And how to take their feelings into consideration. It's just, for example, like I did something today that I usually don't do. So I went to work, to the food pantry to give out food. And my youngest daughter, she's doing school on Zoom, right? So first time I said, let me call her, but I said, let me FaceTime her, right? So when I FaceTimed her, because I usually don't do that, I could just see the smile on her face. She was shocked that I FaceTimed her to see if she was on Zoom. You know, and she's like, yeah, I'm on seafood. And it just shows you just that little bit of more of different of attention that I'm still learning how to do. Made her day, right? Made her happy, made her get up, made her, you know, not have an attitude of whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. Now, if I probably would have ignored her all day until the end of the day and said, did you get on Zoom? Did you do that? Woo, 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 woo. You know, she, you know, will have an attitude, right? So it's just those little things that I'm trying to teach my children to pass on to their next generation. Is the things that I'm lacking, and you know that I'm lacking, and you talk about it. You're like, oh, I wish he would talk to me more, or I wish he would do this to me, you know. So you do those things better. I'm gonna try to continue to do on those things better, but I'm on the downhill. Y'all on the uphill, right? So you do those things better for the next generation, and then that generation will take the tools of security, right? Which is clothes, food, housing, stuff like that, right? That you got that already. Now you wanted more people to talk to you, more people to play with you, more to TikTok with you, right? Now you have that attention gap that we feeling. And then you pass that down, and then whatever that generation says they were missing, they'll take 1, 2, 3 tools, add their tool to it. Now we're starting making a whole body again. We're making a whole human again, a whole right, a whole surrounded, fully formed kind of person, right? So it's just the little things like the comment said. It's just the little things that sometimes we as parents trying to provide so bad, right? Because I think for me and the parents of my generation, which might be some of you guys as parents, is that we got caught up in such a bunch of the rat race, right? Trying to provide, trying not to have y'all poor like we were, right? Because some of us were poor, right? And we kind of forgot about the attention, right? Because sometimes love is more than a house, if that makes any sense. Okay. So you're trying to learn how to balance both is a new one for me, because I didn't have somebody to shit up and tell me, talk to me and say, hey, you know, my big brothers, you know, kind of love they showed me was punching me in my stomach, right? Get up, Blue, get up, Blue, get up, Blue, get up, let's go, Blue. You know, that's the kind of love that we were taught. And if you really want to go back, it's generational curse, right, from slavery. This is what we were taught. So like I'll tell my youth, I said, just picture this. I said, we sit in here, right, and we chop it up and we do this and that. But just picture some people rolling up on us, right, in tanks, guns, and all of that, and say, get up against the wall and put some chains on our feet and our ankles and our things. And then for 400 years, rape our women in front of our faces, abuse our women in front of our faces. That's what we're going to be accustomed to doing. It's abuse, because that's what we were soaked into our souls. So once we could get that kind of trauma and that kind of abuse out of our mentality and out of our DNA, we'll start fixing our race. And what we need to concentrate on is to get love back into our community.
All right, that's all I got. Thank you so much, Mark.
Yeah, G. Okay, so my question is, and you kind of already covered this, but I was curious to know how you became Coach Oz. So like, cause for me, like the first time I ever met you was at Manual, I believe, and then I saw you later on at my brother's keeper. So I'm just curious on how, you know, cause most people in the neighborhood like know you, love you, but could you just explain some of that side of your story?
Well, when I was my name used to be Sir Fresh, right? Before I lost my eye, right? When I got out the hospital, they started calling me left eye, dead eye, one eye, right? Yeah, Popeye and stuff. So my name eventually became One Eye, right? So what my part of the neighborhood called me One Eye. Another part of the neighborhood called me Left Eye. One part of the neighborhood called me Dead Eye, and people that didn't know me called me Popeye, right? So um, that's how that goes. That just became my name. I became my name. One Eye became my name. When I started coaching basketball seriously and started doing that, everybody just started putting coach in front of I, right? That was it. That's how that came about. It's just I though. You know what I'm saying? But they just threw the coach in front of me because they know me from running around here with these kids screaming and hollering at these basketball tournaments and acting a damn fool. But that's it. So I'm just a coach of life, you know what I'm saying? A coach of experience, you know what I'm saying? A coach of love, you know what I'm saying? That's it. That's all. It's, you know, and I just want to continue to spread it down to y'all, so y'all can keep spreading it around. You know what I'm saying? Because the more youth that we get like y'all on this kind of grind, this kind of hustle, this kind of mission, the quicker the outcome will be.
Awesome. So at this time, if we don't have any questions or comments from our guests, um, Coach, if you could just leave us with some final words of advice, some final nuggets. You already dropped a lot of jewels today, but if you could just give us one more thing before you head out, what would that be?
You know, me myself, you know, since I came to Denver, Colorado, you know, I've been getting a lot of love out here, you know, and that's on every side of the table. I mean, from the east side to Park Hill to Aurora, everywhere. You know, I truly honor that, you know, and I truly respect that and appreciate all the love that I do get. You know what I'm saying, for what my wife and I have done out here in this community. You know, my wife was born and raised here. She went to Montbello High School. She went to every school out here, you know, so, you know, all her family is here, you know, so I just been adopted to this city, and I'm just so grateful, you know, that a lot of people have accepted me, you know, just the way I am, you know what I'm saying, and just know that I'm out here, you know, just really genuinely trying to spread some love in the community and just keep our community fed, keep our community safe, you know, and educated, and, you know, try to provide some jobs if we can, and some positivity all the way around. You smell me? So that's it. I just want to send out love to everybody that's supported Struggle Love Foundation once, that started with us. There's so many that I could be here for hours naming all the people that has helped us, volunteered with us, supported us, spread love on us, put prayers on us, and believe in the mission that we all on. You know, this one accord. You know, it's all us getting together and trying to figure it out, because nobody has the perfect answer except God. You know what I'm saying? So all us, we just do what that spirit of God tells you to do, you know. So I just love y'all, man, and I appreciate y'all for having me on, man. And y'all keep the struggle alive. You feel me?
Yes, sir. Much love. So with that being said, at this time, we will be closing out. I just want to say thank you again, Coach I. You know,
Yes,
again, dropped a
sir.
lot of great information. You've been an amazing guest. And at this time, we would like to thank you with our famous Malcolm 3 snaps. So at this time, we like to ask everybody to come off mute.
We
We got a face from Lorenzo for like 2 seconds.
Huh?
again,
All
thank
right.
you so much for coming on. I'm not from Colorado, but I'm very glad that I got to meet you today on this call.
I'm from Colorado. I don't know if you've ever seen me around, but I've seen you around pretty much my whole life coaching or whatever. So, it's nice to formally meet you for sure. Absolutely. But I've seen you around coaching and doing your thing with the teams on the basketball court. So thank you for your story and your vulnerability coming on here and sharing those precious gems. You dropped some dope information with us and some advice that is important to get out to the community. So thank you, Coach.
No, I appreciate you. You know it. Y'all so beautiful. Y'all keep doing.
But we'll give our snaps on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
That was pretty much in sync. Okay.
Right.
We getting better and better. We will be closing out. Thank you again, Coach I. We ask that y'all follow our pages. Again, we'll be right back tomorrow on the same stuff. You feel me? The same amazing guest. Thank you again, Coach I. But y'all knock him out there.
Knock him out.
Team, remember, stay on our debrief. All right. Hey, great as always. I mean, good job, y'all.
Yeah.
Do we do our start, stop, and continue?
Y'all want to come up with a collective stop, start, and continue, and then one of us could just put it in the group?
Okay.
Wait, stop.
I could put it in the group.
Wait, stop, start, and continue like the story for the question, or?
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Mark.
Like how Phil wanted us to, one thing we're gonna start doing, stop doing, and then continue doing for the virtual artist storytelling.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can just come up with it collectively.
I mean,
if we have anything, because we might not even have, if we don't have anything, I think today it went cool, it went smooth. You feel me? I don't know. I don't really have any further input.
I don't have anything.
Yeah, no.
I mean, continue pushing the movement, continue inviting people. Really, I gotta definitely start having
try to get more people on. I don't know how we can do that, because you feel me? We share the post and stuff, so maybe a live or something. I don't know.
For real, it's unfortunate, but I think if we did dollar or something like that,
incentives. Yeah, if we did incentives or something, we'll have to figure out a system. I don't know. We'll have to figure out a system or whatever, run it by Phil, or I guess we run that by Omni and Drill because they're in charge of that area. But I like where you're going. I like where you're going with that.
Unfortunate.
Something. It is unfortunate. It is unfortunate with the Black community. I don't know. And I don't even want to say with the Black community, because that's how white people make their money. That's how white people make their money. You feel me? They go ahead and just give it out so many different ways to get people to support them. And then they turn around and flip it and make it back because of the support that they've gained. So that might be something that we have to do.
White people, the thing about white people though is they consistently support their own community.
Exactly. And they consistently support. And that's the thing. That's where Black people are failing at, because it's we'll support for the first couple times, and then after that we're gonna fall off because we're not getting paid. And that's not it. It's how you want me to support you if you're not supporting me? That's not so maybe we could do something as far as
we support twerking videos. We support We support fighting.
We support smoking, drinking, and fighting. Yeah, we support bullshit. We support all the things that hold our community down. That's a whole lot of bullshit. It's maybe if we could do a Black business thing. You feel if we could get upcoming entrepreneurs to join on or whatever, we'll get your business put out there in this type of way or something like that. Like we got to try to get more people on, especially people who are upcoming entrepreneurs and starting businesses, because we need to network as a Black community. We need to support each other. And Black young entrepreneurs need to understand there's no way you can expect people to support you if you don't support them. And having a nonprofit on your team says a whole lot. And I don't think Black people really understand like what it means to have a nonprofit back you up 100%.
Right.
So,
But it's just crazy how everybody got something to do at 7 all of a sudden.
Everybody got something to do at 7 all of a sudden. What y'all doing?
Exactly. Nothing productive.
Not making money. Not getting no life jibs, not trying to figure out how you can better your situation in your community.
I missed something I wanted to go to tonight, so I couldn't be on here. So it happened.
But yes, y'all. Yeah, I think we have a team meeting tomorrow. I think it's switched from bi-weekly to weekly. If I'm not mistaken.
We got a team meeting tomorrow.
Yeah, it switched from bi-weekly to weekly.
I'm like, what happened to Consume and Create? Because I tried to log on today and
yeah, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's once a month now.
I thought it was once a month too, but like what day?
Phil said he would let us know. He said it's either every 2 weeks or once a month.
Once a month. He never let us know. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have a class tomorrow from 9 to 6. Our meeting is at what time? 1 or 2?
1.
1. That's 2:00 my time. Yeah, I'll be in class. So I'm gonna try to join like from my phone or something, because I'm gonna be in, it's a virtual class on Zoom or whatever, but it's from 9 to 6. And that's tomorrow and Thursday. But I am still going to try to hop on the team meeting.
Yeah, I'm going to do my best to hop on too. I kind of already scheduled an appointment.
I don't want you to fail your class, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the group and, let Phil and Omni and Gerald know. Okay, did you guys get to look at the slide that I saw for the slide that I made for the etiquette shop or whatever? We're not gonna do it until after they go through the interview process and all of that. But like, if there's anything, what I was gonna do, I was gonna like add like a headshot photo of each of us individually to add to the team page. But then I thought about it, like, we'll all be on the Zoom, so when your name come up, just point yourself out. Yeah, like just point yourself out. But if there's anything like any slides or any information that y'all want to add to it or take out or edit, whatever, we have time to do that before we actually have to go ahead and present it to whoever our interns are gonna be.
Okay. Great job on that too, by the way. Great job.
Thank you.
Oh, the slides, yeah, good job. I haven't looked at it yet, but I know it's dope.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Okay, guys, I don't have
anything else.
With
that. Y'all Malcolm.
I'll see y'all.
Have a good night.
You too.